Good morning, Ricky Tang here, and you find me outside Frasers of Gloucester, and they've kindly let me out on another motorbike. The bike I'll be riding is Suzuki's GSX-8TT. Obvious things out of the way first, very first impressions. With less plastic up front, the bike kind of feels smaller as I look forward and down at the bike. Now, one thing, almost the one thing that sold me on the GSX-8R when I first test rode it is the power delivery. And it was basically me doing this. I pulled away from Frasers, went up the road a little bit and just went and I went, ooh, I like that. It's got a great spread of torque, especially kind of in the lower areas, in the lower revs. This is me actually still in B mode. There's basically three riding modes, A, B and C, on the Suzuki drive mode selector. C is the calmest. A is the sportiest in terms of throttle response. Here I am in B in second gear, holding it a bit in second gear. Let's give it a twist. Oh, second into third. Lots of poke. Feels like with this riding position, slightly more upright, feels like a grown-up machine, but at the same time the dimensions are quite small. It's not a big bike, so certainly very approachable for people of the smaller stature, such as myself, at 5'7", and when I come to a stop I can get both feet flat on the ground with my 32-inch inseam. So even at 28s, you 28ers out there, I suspect you might not get both tiptoes down at the same time, but I think it'll feel pretty secure. I'll bring up the seat height of this bike and my 8R on the screen for your reference. How's the suspension doing? All these speed humps and potholes and drains. The damping is pretty firm. You can feel it damping though. It's not hard. It's not uncomfortable, but feels on the sporty side. So it's certainly not loose and flabby. Looking down at the instruments there, well, my camera is. I'm still looking straight ahead. The instruments there look exactly the same, and the switchgear look exactly the same as my 8R. So nothing unusual, be the same as the GSX-8S and the TT. And yeah, on the left-hand handlebar here, I'll press the mode button. That puts me through the TC option. There's 1, 2, 3 modes there. SDMS, and then to nothing. What that means is it's gone down to the trip meter options at the bottom, which I could now cycle through on the switchgear. If I press mode again, I can put me into the lower traction control option. Oh, we even turn it off if you're into wheelies, and throttle mode into A. Now, funnily enough, I don't think I've mentioned this during my GSX-8R ownership, but on the test ride of the GSX-8R, I did try riding mode A. I just found it a bit snatchy, just a little bit hard to meter out properly at slow speeds. So I kind of, during the test ride, I gave up on riding mode A pretty quickly. And then I bought an 8R, and I can't quite remember, but for the first maybe 3 months or so, first couple of 1,000 miles, I didn't even try mode A. Eventually, I was out on a spirited ride on my 8R, switched it to mode A just to give it a second chance, and to my surprise, I found generally at higher speeds and higher revs, the snatchiness had gone for the most part. But the main difference was actually throttle response. And I feel a bit embarrassed to say this, but I hadn't realised, I hadn't appreciated there's a sharper throttle response, a better, quicker throttle response in A mode versus B. So you know, C mode is essentially kind of like a rain mode, soft throttle response. For some reason, I just didn't think there'd be a big difference between B and A, but there is actually quite a big difference when you're riding on the back roads, or you just want to give the throttle a good twist. So if you're an experienced rider, I do suggest get onto A mode straight away and start enjoying the bike as it's meant to be enjoyed. On my 8R, I have since fitted an Akrapovic exhaust system, modified the airbox, and had the ECU flashed. So my bike's even better really for throttle response compared to stock, compared to standard. But this Suzuki is far from atrocious, not saying that. Even in A mode, it's manageable. You just have to think a little bit, just be a little bit gentle with your throttle openings at slow speeds, at low revs. And the jerkiness a lot of people talk about isn't really an issue at all. For you new riders, this bike has the easy clutch system. Easy clutch system, which basically as you start to let the clutch out a little bit, it just raises the revs slightly, just to help reduce the chance of stalling. One thing I'm noticing in the first half hour here is that I believe it feels a bit like the seat foam is a bit more forgiving than on my 8R. It's a bit more movement in it, a bit softer. And so far, so good. It's quite comfortable. I'll let you know what it's like later in the day. I'm becoming a fan quite quickly already of this riding position with the handlebars where they are compared to my 8R. For the road, these bars are wider, obviously higher, a bit more splayed out, gives you a bit more control over this bike. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it feels quite small at the front, so it feels quite darty. Now, one thing I was very curious about for this bike, I know it's boring or a non-issue for many of you, is wind noise coming off this cockpit fairing. Wind noise, turbulence. How does it feel? What's it like in comparison to my 8R? Well, so far this bike is comparing very favourably. There is some noise, but from memory it's actually quieter than my 8R. My 8R initially, the screen that came with it, the OEM screen, was terrible for noise. I had to get rid of that real quick. I think I've got the Pooch screen now, which has improved matters a lot, but it's still noisy. This, believe it or not, seems less noisy than the full fairing on my 8R. Doing a little bit of lens cleaning right now. But yeah, at speeds, now the speeds I want to test at are probably not speeds I can show you, but so far so good in terms of general wind blast and turbulence coming at you. Didn't feel any turbulence to speak of up to about 70. It's slightly noisy, but it's not offensive. Well, that was interesting. I was accelerating hard, as you could probably tell. I was holding onto the bars quite tight, and there was a bit of weaving going on as I was accelerating hard, so the front felt a bit light. I probably had a bit of a deft grip on the bars when I did that, so if I get a chance to do that again, I'll lean more forward, put less pressure into the handlebars, and see where that gets us. Yeah, as per the GSX-8R and the 8S, I suspect, and the TT, The only suspension adjustment you've got to hand is rear preload. So it seems, and I'll come back to this a little later on, yeah, it might help when you're going for it on the back roads to get a little bit of weight forward over the front of the bike, bend your elbows in a little bit, go all Street Fighter on it, and try and look the part, and I think that'll give you a little bit more weight over the front end as well. Shall we dispatch some vehicles? Into fourth gear, shall we? Oh, it's certainly happy to accelerate. This has got some proper real world performance, and yeah, if you want to get past some traffic, it does not take long. I can't help but contradict myself a little bit. Generally speaking, you're throwing it around the back roads, it does feel stable. But give it a bit of a push on one hand on the bars. I don't mean counter steering, but just a little bit of uneven pressure, just a little bit of a push, and the whole chassis kind of wibbles a little bit and then straightens out again. I'm in testing mode, and yeah, maybe that sort of pressure on a bar won't happen very often at all in real world riding, but certainly the bike just feels a bit less stable on the back roads than my 8R with its slightly more forward riding position. Okay, so far so good at higher speeds. More wind pressure hitting me than versus my 8R. It's a bit more of a fight to lean in and lean forward while going quickly. And I'm trying to be conscious of not putting too much grip or too much pressure onto the handlebars. So kind of using my core to lean forward into the wind. So far so good. So unfortunately, freshly gritted road stops play. This is this bike's natural habitat, posing in the middle of town. Call me a show off, but just needs to be a little bit louder. On my 8R, I've modified the airbox, and yeah, even tick over sounds a little bit more raughty on my 8R now compared to stock. Can I see myself in any shop mirrors? That'd be awesome if I could. I don't think I'll be able to. There's a shop mirror there on the left. See if I can catch myself. No, just not quite. Pay attention to where you're riding, you idiot. But you'll probably do that quite a bit. Buy the right riding gear. Makes you look good, makes you feel good. Get on this bike and check yourself out in the shop windows. Why not? Look how easy it is to get my feet down. They are properly down onto the ground. Flat as anything, knees slightly bent as well. Shall we have a little squirt up the hill? Shall we? Yes, we shall. For a Euro 5 Plus parallel twin of pretty modest power output, it's got good squirt. I like the squirt, especially if you're not trying super hard. Bit of a short shift effort up the box there, and accelerates nicely. Yeah, this bike can get it up, but on landing, you do have to, again, be a little careful about how much pressure you're putting on the bars. Try and ensure that you're keeping the pressure even. Otherwise it will weave a little bit. But for some riders, that will just add to the excitement. It's not threatened to get out of control once, not like bikes of the olden days. So if you want a bike that isn't too sanitized, makes you feel like you're alive when you push the bike a little bit, then this could be right up your street. Yep, this bike is proving to be a lot of fun. It's very playful. It's not going to get you out of your depth. Right then, one last quick look at the GSX-8TT before we head back to Fraser's of Gloucester. So pros and cons. Well, in a very similar vein to my GSX-8R, unsurprisingly, it's a lot of fun to ride. If you keep it in 4th gear on the back roads, wide up and down that rev range, get a couple of overtakes in if you can, it's a lot of fun. It's not unhinged, it's not a Super Duke, but it pulls hard and it is thrilling. And talking of thrilling, yeah, the handling can be lively. You might prefer that to the maybe more planted, less dynamic feeling of the 8R. Now they are both rather different looking bikes, but if they're both on your shopping list because you want a sporty middleweight, test ride them both if you can. I think that will tell you what you need to know. See what the light's like. Now yeah, one side of this bike I certainly like, over and above the styling, is the lighting. I'm not a fan of the lighting on my 8R. I don't like those stacked headlights. This is much more stylish. Let's get the mains on. It's surprised to let me do this without running the engine, but there we go. And I thought I saw that in the reflection of a car when I was behind earlier. The indicators are on. I've got running lights. I don't have that on my 8R. I'm quite surprised at that. I wonder if that's a Euro 5 thing. Oh, well, that's getting weirder now. Their running lights aren't on the back indicators. Really? I'm still on the main beam, so let me just take the mains off. Let's have another look. Yeah, running lights on the front only. That's a new one on me. I was not expecting that. So I back up a little bit. Now that's a bike I could stop, park up, walk away from, turn back and give it another long, loving look. Because to me, that's an attractive bike. I think basically it's the stripes. It's the stripes that does it. Great choice of colour there with the black bodywork. I am a fan. To me, yeah, definitely better looking bike than the 8R that I own. But overall, I think on a riding experience, for me personally, I think I prefer the 8R. I think I prefer the clip-ons, even though they are quite mild clip-ons, and that's slightly more forward, more planted over the front riding position. But there's not much in it. If they're both the 8R and the TT and the T and the 8S, if they're on your shopping list, get a ride on them. I think I have ridden the 8S. I do believe I have a video on my channel somewhere. That was my first experience of this platform and I enjoyed it. I quite like, I don't know if that's an extra. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you've got tank pads for your legs, which is quite nice. It's a little touch of class. But yeah, red wheels. I love the red wheels on my 8R, so that's a win. But they do get grubby quite quickly. If you want to be proud of your bike, you got to keep on top of the cleaning, and then it will, make you feel good when you open up that shed door or take that cover off. Yeah, so like I said, I think I like this bike a lot. From a riding experience, personally, I think I like the 8R a bit more than the TT. I have a feeling if this was in my shed, I'd be very happy. It's not just about riding, it's how it makes you feel on multiple levels. And I think this could make you feel really bloody good about life. Anyway, I'm going to get back on the bike and back to Fraser's. Let's go. Oh, there's one thing I haven't mentioned. In the Pro Cab, to be honest with you, mirrors. They look big, they look a bit weird stuck out there. If you were going for bar and mirrors, you'd probably go for something maybe a bit smaller and sleeker. But I've got to tell you, The vision from them is pretty good. You don't see much of your arms. And I've seen no vibration issues at all. They are clear. So they're big and they're clear. So from that point of view, that's a big tick in the box. If you are in the market for a retro middleweight bike, then I think this should be right up on your list. Unless you really want a 4-cylinder, in which case I can't really help you. Or maybe a 3. They all have very different characters. And yeah, this bike is not much to listen to, but the performance and the character's there. I think the feel is there, even if the sound isn't. Which is why I own the 8R after all. So this bike's available at Traces of Gloucester for a demo ride. Get in touch and I'll get you out on it. So with that said, thank you very much. Do like and subscribe to get more content from me, and I shall see you down in the comments. Until the next video, take care. Ta-ra.